I came up with the idea during a late night, actually, my sister Chloe says smoothly. She is leaning forward, her eyes bright as she smiles at the three investors across the long glass table. My chest goes cold, and for a moment, I forget how to breathe. I am sitting right there next to her, but I feel completely invisible. Again. This is the third meeting this week where she has acted like I am just her assistant instead of her partner. She clicks the remote, and the next slide appears on the large screen. It is my slide. Those are my words, my unique concept, and even my exact phrasing that I spent weeks perfecting in our shared apartment. I lean over and whisper, "Chloe, what are you doing?" That's my section. She doesn't even look at me. She just keeps talking to the room like I don't exist. She gestures toward the screen with a practiced grace that I've always envied. The lead investor, a man named Mr. Sterling, leans forward with a look of genuine interest. "This is brilliant, Chloe," he says, nodding slowly. "The way you've linked the logistics to the user interface is something we haven't seen yet." My hands shake under the table. That idea was mine. And she just took it. Chloe's smile tightens for half a second when Mr. Sterling asks his next question. It is just a tiny flicker of movement, but I notice it because I know her better than anyone. Then she laughs lightly, that charming sound she uses to hide her nerves. "Of course, it's pretty straightforward once you see the logic behind the data flow," she says, trying to sound confident. But I hear it immediately, the slight hesitation in her voice. She is repeating the words I told her over coffee this morning, but she doesn't actually understand the meaning behind them. She is a great salesperson, but she is not a creator. I am the one who stayed up until 3 a.m. building the back-end code. I am the one who researched the market gaps. Chloe is just the face of the operation, but now she is trying to be the brain too. "No, I mean the back-end logic," Mr. Sterling interrupts, his voice turning sharper. "How does the system scale when you hit 10,000 simultaneous users? What happens to the latency?" Chloe freezes. She looks at the screen, then at her notes, but the answer isn't there. She knows the what, but she doesn't know the how. Because she didn't build it. The silence in the room becomes heavy. It is the kind of silence that happens when someone is caught in a lie they didn't expect to have to defend. Chloe starts speaking again, but her words are vague and surface level. She talks about synergy and efficiency, using safe buzzwords that don't actually answer the technical question. The atmosphere in the room shifts instantly. I can feel the investors' interest beginning to cool. They are professionals, and they know when a founder is out of their depth. Mr. Sterling's eyes flick to me for the first time in the entire meeting. He sees me sitting there with my notebook, watching the exchange with a quiet intensity. He is looking for a sign of life, a sign of actual knowledge. Chloe is still rambling, her face turning a slightly darker shade of pink as she realizes she is losing them. She tries to pivot back to the marketing plan, but Mr. Sterling isn't having it. "Wait," he says, raising a hand to stop her. "I want to hear from your sister. She's been very quiet. Do you understand the scaling process, or is that also straightforward?" I feel Chloe's foot kick mine under the table, a sharp warning to stay quiet. She wants me to let her struggle, so she can keep the credit. But I have had enough of being the ghost in the machine. I take a deep breath and look Mr. Sterling right in the eye. "Actually, the scaling relies on a decentralized node structure," I say, my voice surprising me with its steadiness. "By distributing the load across several virtual layers, we eliminate the latency issue entirely." As I continue, I see the investors lean back in their chairs, their eyes widening. I explain the logic I built into the core system, using the specific technical terms that Chloe couldn't remember. I describe the failsafes and the data pathways with a level of detail that only the creator could know. The room feels different now. The tension hasn't disappeared, but it has changed direction. The focus is no longer on Chloe, it is entirely on me. I can feel her glaring at me from the side of my vision, but I don't look back. For the first time in my life, I am not the shadow. I am the light. And the investors are finally seeing the real architect of the business. As I finish my explanation, the two other investors start whispering to each other. They are looking at the charts on the screen with a new perspective. Mr. Sterling writes something down in his notebook and then looks back at Chloe. It sounds like your sister is the one who handles the technical architecture, he says. It isn't a question. It is a statement of fact. Chloe tries to recover her poise, smoothing her hair with a trembling hand. We work as a team, obviously, she says, but her voice sounds thin and defensive now. The team she is talking about has always been one-sided. I do the work and she takes the bows. She thinks that because she is the older sister, she is entitled to the leadership. But in this room, age doesn't matter. Only results matter. The investors can see the disparity between her vague promises and my concrete answers. I realize at this moment that I have been enabling her for too long. By staying quiet, I was helping her lie to the world. But the lie is over now. I can see the respect in Mr. Sterling's eyes, and it feels better than any praise my sister has ever given me. Chloe doesn't say a word as we walk out of the conference room. She marches down the hallway, her heels clicking loudly on the marble floor. I follow behind her, feeling a strange mix of guilt and triumph. I know she is furious, but I also know that I did nothing wrong. I simply told the truth. When we get to the elevator, she finally turns to face me. Her face is pale, and her eyes are narrowed into slits. Why did you do that? She snaps, her voice low so the receptionist won't hear. Why did I do what, Chloe? Answer a question. I ask, trying to keep my voice calm. She scoffs and rolls her eyes. You made me look like an idiot in there. You know I handled that meeting. You were supposed to just be the support. She says the word support like it means servant. I realize that in her mind, my only purpose is to make her look good. She doesn't care about the business succeeding. She only cares about her being the reason for its success. The elevator doors open, and we step inside, the silence between us feeling like a physical wall. The drive back to our office is even worse. Chloe refuses to look at me, staring out the window with her arms crossed tightly. I try to explain my side of things, but she just cuts me off with a sharp wave of her hand. I don't want to hear it. You undermined me in front of the most important investors we've ever met. Do you have any idea what you've done to our reputation? She is trying to turn her own failure into my mistake. It is a classic move she has used on me since we were kids. I remember all the times she took credit for my school projects or told our parents she was the one who cleaned the house when it was really me. Back then, I let it go because I wanted her to love me. I thought that if I helped her, we would be closer. But as I look at her now, I see that my help only made her more entitled. She doesn't see me as a sister. She sees me as a tool. I realize that the reputation she is worried about isn't ours. It's hers. She is terrified that the world will find out she isn't the genius she pretends to be. When we get back to the office, there is already an email waiting from Mr. Sterling's assistant. Chloe opens it quickly, her hands shaking. I stand by the desk, watching her face go from hopeful to confused to angry. She slams the laptop shut and looks up at me. They want another meeting, she says, her voice sounding flat. But they only want to meet with you. They said they have specific technical follow-up questions that require your expertise. The bitterness in her tone is unmistakable. This is the ultimate insult to her ego. She has been sidelined from her own pitch. I feel a surge of panic. I've never led a meeting on my own before. But then I look at Chloe and see her resentment, and the panic turns into a cold, hard determination. If the investors want to talk to the person who built the business, then that's who they should talk to. I'll go, I say quietly. Chloe laughs, a harsh, mocking sound. You? You can't lead a meeting. You'll freeze up the second they ask about anything other than code. I didn't freeze up today, Chloe, I reminded her. She flinches as if I've struck her. The truth of today's meeting is a wound she can't hide. She knows I was the one who saved the pitch, but she hates me for it. She spends the rest of the afternoon pacing around the office, trying to find a way to reinsert herself into the next meeting. She suggests that she should moderate the discussion or that we should tell them she's sick and reschedule. She is desperate to maintain the illusion of her control. But I've already replied to the email. I told them I would be happy to meet with them tomorrow morning at their office. I didn't ask Chloe for permission, and I didn't include her on the CC. It is the first time I have ever made a business decision without her, and it feels like taking a breath after being underwater for years. I am reclaiming my voice, one email at a time. Chloe eventually leaves the office in a huff, slamming the door behind her. I stayed up late, preparing my presentation. I don't need a salesperson tomorrow. I just need my data. The next morning, I walked into the investor's office alone. The room is smaller this time, more intimate. Mr. Sterling is there with two other partners. They don't look like they are there to judge me. They look like they are there to work. We spend 3 hours going through the entire system architecture. I explain the security protocols, the database management, and the long-term scaling plan. For the first time, I am not being interrupted or translated by Chloe. I am speaking directly to the people who can make my dream a reality. I find that I don't need Chloe's charm to hold their attention. My knowledge is the charm. They ask difficult questions, but I have the answers because I lived through the development of every single feature. By the end of the meeting, Mr. Sterling leans back and smiles. I'll be honest, he says. We were worried after the first meeting. Your sister is very talented at presenting, but a business needs a solid foundation. You are that foundation. Hearing those words makes all the late nights and the silent suffering feel worth it. I am the foundation. I get home and find Chloe sitting on the couch with a glass of wine. The lights are dimmed, and the air feels heavy with her unspoken anger. She doesn't even ask how the meeting went. She just looks at me with a cold, mocking smile. I hope you enjoyed your little moment in the spotlight, she says. But don't get too comfortable. An idea is nothing without someone to sell it, and you're not a seller. You're just a worker. She's trying to pull me back down into the box she built for me. I don't argue with her. I just walk to my room and start packing a small bag. I realized during the meeting today that I can't stay in this apartment or this partnership anymore. Chloe's influence is like a poison that keeps me from seeing my own worth. If I stay, she will always find a way to diminish my achievements. I'm staying at a hotel for a few days, Chloe, I say, standing in the doorway with my bag. She looks surprised for a moment, the mocking smile disappearing. Wait, you're leaving? Over a meeting? It's not over a meeting, Chloe. It's over a lifetime of this, I tell her. I don't raise my voice, but I make sure it is firm. She tries to laugh it off, calling me dramatic and sensitive, but the words don't have their usual power over me. I see them for what they are, tools of manipulation. I walk out the door and don't look back. As I drive away, I feel a sense of freedom that is almost overwhelming. I have no plan, no partner, and no safety net, but for the first time, I have myself. The next few days are a blur of phone calls and emails. Mr. Sterling calls me personally to tell me they want to move forward with a term sheet. But there is a catch. They want me to be the CEO. They don't want Chloe involved in the leadership at all. They see her as a liability who doesn't understand the core product. I sit in my hotel room, looking at the offer on my screen. This is everything I've ever wanted, but it means officially cutting my sister out of the business she thinks she owns. It is a terrifying choice. I decided to meet Chloe one last time to tell her the news. We met at a quiet cafe near our old office. She looks tired, and for the first time, she doesn't look like the polished salesperson she usually is. She thinks I'm here to apologize and come back to the partnership. I've been thinking, she says before I can even speak. We can go back to the old way, but I'll give you a small raise in your equity. You deserve a little more credit, I suppose. She says it like she's doing me a huge favor. I look at her and realize that she still doesn't get it. She still thinks she is the one in charge, handing out scraps of credit to the worker. I pull the term sheet out of my bag and slide it across the table. Her eyes scan the page, and I watch the color drain from her face as she reaches the section about the leadership structure. They want you to be CEO? She whispers, her voice shaking. And they want to buy out my share? This is my company too. I started this with you. You started it with me, Chloe, but you tried to finish it without me. I say quietly. Every time you took credit for my work, you were pushing me out. You can't be the leader of something you don't understand. She starts to cry, but they aren't the tears of a sister who is hurt. They are the tears of a person who has lost her power. She tries to bargain, promising she'll change, that we'll be a true team this time. But I've heard those promises before. I know that as soon as the pressure is off, she'll go right back to her old ways. It is the hardest thing I have ever done, but I tell her no. I tell her that the investors are right. The business needs a leader who knows the product inside and out. I offer to help her find a new role in a different company where her sales skills will be valued, but I am moving forward with this deal alone. Chloe stands up, her face twisted in rage. You'll fail, she hisses. Without me to talk for you, you're nothing. You're just a girl behind a screen. She turns and walks out, leaving me alone at the table. The weeks that follow are the most intense of my life. I have to hire a new team, move into a real office, and manage the legal fallout of buying out Chloe's shares. My sister doesn't make it easy. She sends angry emails to the investors, tries to claim intellectual property that isn't hers, and tells our parents that I've stolen her dream. I have to block her number just to get through the day. But through it all, I have the support of Mr. Sterling and the other investors. They believe in me, and that belief is a shield. I find that I am a much better leader than I thought I would be. Because I built the system, I know exactly what kind of people I need to hire to maintain it. I speak to my employees with honesty and respect, never taking credit for their work. The culture of our new office is the exact opposite of the one Chloe and I had. People feel heard, valued, and inspired. The business starts to grow faster than I ever predicted. We are no longer just a concept. We are a thriving company with real customers and real revenue. One afternoon, I am preparing for a major presentation at a national tech conference. This is a much bigger stage than the small conference room where Chloe first stole my ideas. I feel the old familiar pang of anxiety in my stomach. For a moment, I wish Chloe were there to handle the talking while I stayed in the back. But then I remember her face when she couldn't answer the investor's question. I remember the feeling of being invisible. I look at my slides, my data, and my vision. I don't need a spokesperson. I am the voice of this company. I walk onto the stage in front of 500 people. The lights are bright, and the room is silent. I start to speak, and my voice doesn't shake. I talk about the journey of the business, the technical challenges we overcame, and the future we are building. When I finish, the room erupts in applause. I see Mr. Sterling in the front row, giving me a thumbs up. I realize at that moment that I am not just a worker. I am a CEO. I am a founder. I am exactly who I was always meant to be. After the presentation, a young woman came up to me. She looks nervous, her eyes darting around the crowded room. I'm a developer too, she says quietly. I've been working on a project with my partner, but he takes all the credit during the pitches. I saw you up there today, and it made me feel like maybe I can speak up too. I look at her and see my younger self. I see the girl who is afraid to speak, the girl who thought her only value was in her silence. I take her hand and look her in the eye. Speak up, I tell her. Don't wait for him to give you permission, because he never will. Your work is your voice, and you have to let people hear it. She nods, a small smile appearing on her face. As she walks away, I feel a sense of completion. My struggle wasn't just for myself. It was to prove that the creators deserve to be heard. I have turned my betrayal into a message of empowerment for others. My sister tried to take my credit, but she gave me something much more valuable, my confidence. The business continues to soar. We land a massive contract with a global logistics firm, and the industry starts calling us the next big thing. I am featured on the cover of a business magazine, and the headline reads, "The brain behind the breakthrough." I look at the photo and see a woman who looks strong, capable, and happy. I still have bad days, and I still miss the sister Chloe used to be before greed took over, but I don't regret my choice. I have built a life that is authentically mine. I hear through our parents that Chloe has started a new marketing agency. She is doing well, apparently, using her sales skills to help other startups. I hope she has learned her lesson, but even if she hasn't, she can no longer hurt me. We haven't spoken in months, and the silence is peaceful. I've realized that sometimes you have to lose a relationship to find yourself. Our parents still try to get us to reconcile, but I've told them that I'm open to it only if Chloe can acknowledge the truth. So far, she hasn't. One morning, I receive a message from Mr. Sterling. There's a new startup looking for funding, he writes. The product is good, but the founders are struggling with their internal roles. I told them about you. Are you open to leading a mentoring project for young founders? I feel my pulse quicken. This is exactly what I wanted to do next. I want to help other silent partners find their voices before they lose their dreams to someone else's ego. I reply immediately. I am. This is the next chapter of my story. I am no longer just building a business. I am building a legacy of fairness and transparency. I want to create a world where the people who do the work are the ones who get the rewards. As I walk into my office, I see my team working together, sharing ideas and giving credit where it is due. It is a beautiful sight. Chloe thought that taking my credit would make her powerful, but it only made her empty. I am the one who is truly rich. I turn to my assistant, a bright young woman named Mia, and tell her she's doing a great job on the latest report. I make sure to say it in front of the whole team. I see her face light up, and I know that I've just given her a little bit more confidence for the next day. You already did it for me, she says when I thank her for her hard work. No anger, just the truth. For the first time, she feels like she belongs in the room, and I am proud to be the one who made that happen. The investors for the new startup came in for our first meeting. They are young, nervous, and remind me so much of Chloe and me a few years ago. One of them is doing all the talking, while the other sits in the back, checking the data on her laptop. I wait for the right moment. Then I look at the girl in the back. What do you think about the back-end logic? I ask. She freezes, looking at her partner for permission. I give her an encouraging smile. Don't look at him. Tell me what you built. The meeting ends, and as they walk out, the girl in the back comes up to me and whispers, "Thank you." I nod, knowing exactly what that thank you means. It is the sound of a voice being found. I follow them out slowly, my heart feeling steady and full. I have come a long way from the girl who sat invisible at the glass table. I have changed the narrative of my life, and in doing so, I am helping others change theirs. Chloe is still out there somewhere, likely pitching another brilliant idea that she didn't fully conceive. But she is no longer my shadow. I am my own person, and my business is a reflection of my integrity. I have learned that the only person who can truly give you credit is yourself. If you don't believe in your own worth, no one else will. I walk out into the sunlight, feeling the warmth on my face. The world is full of opportunities, and I am ready for all of them. I received a message from Chloe on my phone that evening. It is the first time she has reached out in over half a year. I hesitate before opening it, my heart racing. Is it another insult? Another demand for money? I take a deep breath and click on the message. It is simple and short. I didn't realize how far you'd come. That's it. No apology, no explanation, but for Chloe, it is a huge admission. She has finally acknowledged that I am more than just her support. It isn't the reconciliation our parents want, but for me, it is enough. I don't need her to be sorry to move on. I just needed her to see the truth. I set my phone down and look out the window at the city lights. I have built something incredible, and I did it without sacrificing who I am. I didn't marry rich. I didn't stay quiet, and I didn't let anyone else tell my story. I am the author, the founder, and the foundation. And that is the greatest victory of all. The deal for the new mentoring project moves forward with me as the lead advisor. I spend my days meeting with founders, reviewing their structures, and ensuring that the creators are protected. I receive the official contract in the mail, and as I sign my name, I feel a sense of certainty that I never had before. This was always mine to do. I have turned my pain into a purpose, and that is the most powerful thing anyone can do. I am often asked at conferences what the secret to my success is. I always give the same answer. Know your work so well that no one can take credit for it. I tell them that skills are the only things that can't be stolen. You can steal a slide, you can steal a phrase, and you can even steal a pitch, but you can't steal the knowledge that lives in someone's brain. Chloe tried to take the fruit of my labor, but she couldn't take the roots. And because my roots were strong, I was able to grow again, even stronger than before. I signed the final documents for our company's expansion into the European market today. It was a quiet moment, just me and my lawyer in my office. There was no fanfare, no applause, just the scratch of the pen on the paper. But it felt more significant than any public award I've received. It was proof that I could lead this company to heights that Chloe never even dreamed of. Not because I'm a better person, but because I'm the right person for the job. I think back to the first meeting with Mr. Sterling. I remember how my hands were shaking and how cold I felt. I wish I could go back and tell that girl that it was all going to be okay. I wish I could tell her that her silence was just a temporary phase and that her voice would one day be heard by thousands. But then again, maybe she needed to feel that cold to appreciate the warmth of the success she was about to build. Every struggle was a brick in the foundation of who I am today. Later that night, I am at a small gathering for the leaders in the tech industry. I see people I've admired for years, and now they are coming up to me to ask for my opinion on the latest trends. I am no longer the invisible sister. I am the one people want to talk to. As I leave the party, I look up at the stars and feel a deep sense of peace. I didn't take revenge loudly, and I didn't fight dirty. I just let the truth play out, and it was louder than all the lies combined. I am happy, I am successful, and I am free. The girl who sat at the long mahogany dinner table and the girl who sat at the glass conference room table are the same person, but now she knows her worth. She didn't marry rich, she didn't stay quiet, and she didn't let her sister define her future. She built something better. She built the life. And in the end, that was the only answer she ever needed to give. The journey was long and difficult, but the destination is more beautiful than I ever imagined. I am finally home, within myself,